I don't think you guys understand the significance of the title that Jesus uses for himself, Son of Man. I hear so many people argue that the Son of Man is about his humanity, but it's not. It's about Jesus being God. How? Why? We have to go back to Daniel chapter 7, and I just want to start in verse 9. But verses 13 and 14 are really what need to be paid attention to. I watched till thrones were put in place, and the Ancient of Days was seated. The Ancient of Days is God. That's clear, no dispute. The Ancient of Days was seated. His garment was as white as snow, and the hair of his head was like pure wool. His throne was a fiery flame, its wheels a burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. So that kind of reminds me of Revelation when it's describing Jesus. So I want to skip to verse 13. I was watching in the night visions, and behold, one like a son of man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days. He approached God, and they brought him near before him. Then to him, the Son of Man, was given dominion and glory and a kingdom that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, in his kingdom the one which shall not be destroyed. And I don't have the Bible verses in front of me because this is like off top, you feel me? But no one can see God face to face and live. This Ancient of Days, this Son of Man approaches God, the Ancient of Days, and what happens? The Ancient of Days gives him what? Gives him dominion, that means rule, power. And he gave him glory. Isaiah 42:8 says, I am the Lord, my glory I will not give another. God doesn't give his glory away. But in John chapter 17, verse 5, Jesus says, glorify me, Father, with the glory I had with you before the earth began. Either Jesus is blaspheming or he's God in the flesh. There's no other option. So the Ancient of Days gives this Son of Man glory. He gives him dominion, rule, power. He gives him a kingdom. And why does he give him these things? That all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting, it's forever. It's an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away. And his kingdom is one that shall not be destroyed. And I should have had this ready. 1 second. Sorry about that. Patient with me, be patient with me. One thing you gotta know about the book of, okay, so the Old Testament's Hebrew, New Testament written in Greek, but Daniel and Ezra have Aramaic in them, and this is Aramaic right here. So the word in Aramaic for that all people should serve is pelak, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's an Aramaic word for serve or worship, pelak. So I wrote this down because I did a study on this. So this is the thing. This is a Babylonian language, because Daniel was in the exile in Babylon. So the meaning of pelak doesn't always mean worship, but it can mean worship. But in the book of Daniel, the word pelak, in the book of Daniel specifically, the word pelak is used 9 times. And with the exception of this verse, I'm not going to add this verse in yet. It has the clear meaning of service, paying reverence and worship of a deity. That means a god. So whether it's a false god or the true and living God, every time the word Pelach is used in the book of Daniel, it means worship. So why in the world would the Ancient of Days give this person who looks like a human, like a son of man, glory, which God doesn't give his glory away? And why would he give him all these things that people should worship him? And how can his kingdom be everlasting? I think this is a clear, and obviously Jesus did too, because this is about himself, and you could see that in Mark. If we go to Mark 14:26, when Jesus is at his trial, and at his illegal Jewish trial, the high priest asked him, "Are you the Christ? Are you the Son of the Blessed One?" Jesus says, "I am." We go back to Exodus 3:14. "I am, and you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven." And he's not talking about you will see a human being because I'm a human. No, you will see the Son of Man from Daniel 7 sitting at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven. And what do? They tear their clothes and they say blasphemy. That is blasphemy. Why is it? What's blasphemous about that? He's claiming to be God. He is claiming to be God. The Son of Man is clearly God, but separate, not separate, but distinct from God. And this is where person and being comes. This is the Bible, Judaism, Christianity, Trinitarianism is monotheistic. Mono, one, theist, theos, whatever, God. One God. One God. One being. My being is human. It has to do with nature. There's one God, which has to do with being, nature. One God who reveals himself in three persons. Person does not mean human being. Person does not mean human. Person is about mind, and a dog has a person. A dog named Sally, their being, their nature is a dog. Their person is Sally. My person is Jawan. My being is human. God, one nature. The Father, eternal. The Son, eternal. The Holy Spirit, eternal. And I don't think we'll ever understand on this side of heaven fully. But I don't think I'm the best person to explain this. But I have resources if you guys want to reach out about the Trinity and how it's shown a little bit in the Old Testament and a lot in the New Testament. But the Holy Spirit, the Father, the Son, eternal, all-powerful, omnipotent, omnipresent. You know what I mean? So that is their nature. They are one being, but they are distinct. The Holy Spirit indwells believers. The Father doesn't indwell believers. Jesus came and gave his life. Jesus became man. Jesus has two natures, or at least he had when he was on this earth. He had two natures. He became man. The Father didn't become man. The Father didn't go to the cross. The Father, no. The Father sent the Son. The Son didn't send himself. The Son didn't send the Father. One being, three persons, distinct. And this is an example of it in the Old Testament. There's other examples too. If you want to talk about the angel of the Lord, the Malak of the Lord, but we'll save that for another time.